Let's be honest, your procrastination is ruining more dreams than any of your failures ever will. Why? Because failure at least leaves scars, lessons, proof you tried at something. But procrastination, it leaves you with nothing. It steals your future, the person you could become, the life you could live, while you keep telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. You know the cycle. Notebook open, to-do list ready. And somehow TikTok eats 3 hours of your life. I've been there myself many times. That's not random. That's not bad luck either, because procrastination isn't random. It's math. And if you came here hoping for another productivity hack to magically erase procrastination, stop. That's not what this is. You're putting things off for later. Runs on a formula in your brain every single time you procrastinate. And until you change it, you'll keep bleeding hours, days, and even years. I know it because I cracked this formula myself instead of wasting my time looking for gimmicks. And once you solve it, procrastination doesn't just end. It becomes impossible to hide from yourself ever again. You don't procrastinate solely because you're lazy. You procrastinate because in the first place, your brain doesn't believe the effort will pay off. Expectancy is your belief in your ability to succeed. And when that belief collapses, your motivation collapses with it. That's why you open the laptop, see the assignment, feel the weight of past failures, and close it right back. I've been there myself too many times, so it's not because you don't care. You do care. But your brain whispers, this is going to be hard, so why even try? It's not just about discipline, it's about self-trust. Do you actually believe your actions lead to results? Or have you quietly trained your brain to expect disappointment? I learned this the hard way, and I can tell you every broken promise adds weight. Every delayed task or half-finished plan. Every time you negotiate with yourself, should I do now or later, your brain records everything. And slowly that stack of evidence proves you cannot be trusted to follow through. You need to realize expectancy isn't fixed. It's built. Don't force yourself into a 5 a.m. grind when you hardly believe you can stick to your own promise. Start by waking up just 15 minutes earlier, and when you keep that promise, at least you will know you can prove something to yourself. Don't look at the entire mountain of your to-do list. Break down your toughest projects into tiny steps. Each time you finish one piece, the mountain gets smaller. This is how it works. I've done it myself many times, and over time I stopped saying, impossible, this is hard, and started saying maybe. Then possible. Until finally it was done. That shift didn't come from discipline alone. It came from stacking small wins until the evidence was undeniable. That's the shift. Doubt is replaced by momentum. And momentum comes from a stack of your tiny wins, which build an undeniable proof. You can do this. The second variable is value. Think of it like return on investment. If a task feels pointless, if it has no immediate payoff, your brain assigns it zero value. That's why Netflix beats your side hustle. That's why scrolling TikTok feels irresistible while your dream body collects dust. Because those things pay you instantly. But your goals, they pay later. They demand sweat today for results tomorrow. And your brain hates delayed returns. That's why you procrastinate on the very things that matter most. Not because they're hard, but because your brain rejects low-value investments. I've noticed myself every time you say, this is pointless, your brain listens. Say it enough, and your brain starts believing you don't matter. Because you're not just skipping tasks that you perceive as low value, you're reinforcing avoidance. And that pattern becomes part of your identity architecture. You're teaching your brain, I don't invest in me. I don't invest my time and effort in a strong mind or strong finances. I invest in distraction. Netflix and TikTok become high ROI. My future becomes worthless ROI. Think of this as identity return on investment. Ask yourself, does this task reinforce who I want to become? Does it compound into sharper skills, a stronger body, a freer life? If not, your brain will reject it. So stop saying, I have to do this boring thing. Start saying, this is equity in future me. The version of you who can't be ignored, the version who keeps their own promises. Think this way. Every minute you give your goals, whether you focus on your university exams or working on strong mindset, you are buying equity in your future self. And that return on investment beats any cheap distraction. Now let's move to your behaviour. Your impulsiveness isn't random. It's the trained response to every ping, scroll, and urge you don't resist. You think you are just responding to TikTok notification for 5 minutes, and suddenly an hour is gone. I've been there too, many times. But here's what I noticed. Every time I acted on those urges, I was rehearsing distraction. It's like teaching the brain we don't stay present in the given moment. We interrupt the work that matters. Every time you respond to notifications, you're pulling your focus in the opposite direction of your goals. That's why deep work feels impossible, because you've trained your brain to scatter the second it's challenged. Impulsiveness isn't just the inability to resist urges. It's your brain chasing dopamine hits on autopilot, programmed by every scroll or every notification. And that hijacks your attention and ability to practice deep work. Attention is the gatekeeper of execution. You're rewiring your brain to chase stimulation instead of attention on the task. You don't fight impulsiveness with motivation. You fight it with friction. Silence those constant notifications. Airplane mode. Have some pre-work rituals that signal it's time to work on my goals, whether it's coffee, music, or writing your to-do list. Use a timer, 25, 45, or 60 minutes. The countdown forces urgency and presence. Start with a ritual, what would help you ease into deep work mode, whether it's a cup of coffee or watching motivational video. Because what I've observed, every time you resist the urge, you train your brain to obey you, that you are in control of your impulses. Even if you trust yourself to succeed, even if the task feels valuable, you'll still procrastinate if the reward feels too far away. A degree in 3 years feels worthless. A Netflix hit in the 3 seconds feels rewarding. That's hyperbolic discounting. Your brain selling your future for pennies today, even though your future rewards have greater value. And that's because of the delay between when you are right now and when you finally decide to act. I know it's hard to start when the deadline feels far away, thinking you still have time. But the reality is, and you know this, the longer the delay, the less urgent the task feels. And the less urgent it feels, the harder it becomes to even take the first step. That's why you keep waiting until the last minute, because urgency only shows up when panic does. And by then, your work suffers, your confidence drops, and procrastination wins. So you keep saying, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow is a myth. It's a psychological loophole your brain uses to feel productive while you do nothing. So what's the fix? Shorten the distance between effort and reward. Don't stare at the entire mountain. Set mini deadlines. Break the big task into milestones that actually pull you forward. Don't wait until the evening when your energy is gone. Tackle the hardest thing first. Eat the frog while your willpower is fresh. Don't rely on one giant deadline. Engineer micro deadlines so progress becomes non-negotiable. Each milestone you hit gives you proof. And stack of each proof builds momentum. And suddenly the impossible task shrinks because you're not delaying anymore. You're already in motion. So here's my challenge. Which variable destroys you the most? Expectancy, value, impulsiveness, or delay? You already know your pattern. Now you know the formula. The only question is, will you act on it, or save this video and scroll to the next distraction? Drop it in the comments and call yourself out. And if you're serious about building a strong mindset and become CEO of your mind, hit subscribe. And remember, don't make this another video you save for later and never act on.